Well, hey there, this is Jerry, and I'm getting started on part 5 of Rusty, the 2002 F350. Okay, and getting started, since I had all this sheet metal, I was trying to figure out how I could, utilize some more of it, because, I got a huge hole right in here, and I think I still got to do some more trimming, but I think I'm gonna, this is another piece of the inner rocker, and what I'm thinking is I'm probably going to cut out a little bit more off the truck so I can take this piece and slide it behind this one like it was originally, and then get it back up as far as I can so I can, try and fill in these holes. Because, it still needs some more trim, because normally this would go up and your floorboard would spot weld to it, and also the cab corner brace. But see, out here I really got, lengthwise I got really more than I need, so I'm probably going to shave off a little bit of length. Which I'm thinking I'll probably cut it off, where it's in front of this seam, and then maybe, because a little bit of cleaning I can run up on the back side of this. But yeah, get rid of some length there, and then I probably need to knock off, probably need to cut a little bit off of here, because I'm hitting the floor pan. And actually I think these 3 spot welds was welding the outer piece to this, because the floorboard's way up, is up here. And then I'll come back here and I think I'll notch that out, and I'll probably end up getting this mounted in here and welding this and this back together. So yeah, let me put a little thought into it, and we'll get back to Rusty in a little bit. Alright, I'm out here working on the Rusty again today, and what I'm doing now is, where I got to weld, I don't want paint, so I was cleaning paint off here, paint off where I'm going to plug weld through these holes, and then up here at the back where these 2 seams are coming together, of course cleaning off the paint. But then the other thing I'm doing, which will make this easier to weld on the back side here on the cab corner, this out of the way, is the piece I cut off the top to shorten my cab corner. I refabricated it and put it on the inside of the truck, and that way when I weld, I'm going to actually be welding the old cab to my backer steel, and then to the new cab corner. Still got some refinement to do there, but getting really close to having that ready. That for the type of project this is, something like this is a great thing, though. It'll make it easier to weld. And then where I got all my bullet holes coming through here. Monday, I'm gonna run up to my steel place and see if he can cut me a strip, which I'm gonna guess that's about 1 inch wide, and then figure out how long it is. I'll also have him cut me pieces that I'm actually gonna use the spot weld holes on the back side and weld onto this backer piece, and then that way when I come around to welding this, I can just go through the holes and fill them in, and that should take care of that situation, because otherwise I don't know any other good way to fill those in. If I get something of similar thickness, a 16 or 18 gauge, it's not going to add that much more thickness, and it being clear down here, it really won't affect anything. Probably the biggest thing I got to deal with is, you know, actually getting this down, and I'm going to use my railroad iron and try and flatten this out and make it as smooth and straight as I can. And yeah, see, I cleaned all the paint off around here. So yeah, hopefully by the time Monday rolls around, we're going to be doing some welding. Okay, well, we're ready to start doing some welding, and as you can see, I've made me a strip to go on the back side to fill in there, and then I'm slowly going down and welding up all the bullet holes and attaching this piece to the part with all the big holes in it. And basically all I'm doing is just, you know, I got my ground clamp down here, and then I'll take my other clamps and squeeze it up and try and get the back piece as close to the well, actually it's going to be the middle piece as close to the back as I can, and then turn on the welder. I got my fan for my little heater going, so I don't want to make too much noise. So, but yeah, I'll get it clamped up, grounded, and then just basically weld around the inside of that circle. And if I see a spot where I missed some, I'll go back and fill it in, like right there. But I got the welder kind of turned down, but I can just slowly work my way down. And like these next two will be a little tricky because I'm not totally covering those two holes, but New Country 100.7. And like on this last one, what I do is especially like, you know, when I start welding here, I'm gonna have to do a bunch of little, basically spot welds. So that's how I filled in that gap. And of course, then when we look at the back side, you know, we end up, you can see where, you know, I had good heat. And then I'll clean this up and see, then this is gonna go up here. You know, we talk about different kinds of welds. This is what I'd call like a plug weld, where I'm just basically filling in a hole. Another thing we can do is, this is where I cut I end up making my own strips, but you know, you can do a butt weld, which I will turn around, basically where I've taken a tool, which I have either a pair of vice grips that have offset jaws welded in, or right here, I got another tool that's air operated that will put a notch in it, and then the other side I can punch a hole. So we'll go to, like, say I want to put these two pieces together. Well, one way to do it is to just overlay and weld it, which is what I'm going to do down here, because that's hidden. The other thing I can do is take my notcher and put my metal in there, and then just and that puts this little offset in the metal. And then I can, when I put these together and I weld it, they'll be almost flush. So that way, you know, my panels line up better. And of course, the other way you can do it, which is, well, what I'm doing here, is I'm going to take the two panels and just butt them up against each other. And see, this is so thin. I mean, can we weld it together like that? Absolutely. Is it easy? No way. So that is why when we come back here to the cab corner, that up there. So when we come to the cab corner, I put this little plate on the back, on the inside of the upper half, because instead of going up here and butting them together like this, well, basically that piece of metal mimics my flange, so I've got something on the back side. So when I start welding, I'll still weld and fill in the gap, but the thing about it is that's going to help absorb some heat and will help keep me from doing a burn through. Whereas on this piece that's going in the front, you know, see, the piece that's going in for our A-pillar up in here, when I put it up there, like so, I'm just gonna weld the gap. But I can do that on this, because where this is probably an 18 gauge steel, this piece for the A-pillar, I mean, it's got to be, I'm gonna guess, damn near double that. And actually, this is probably more than twice the thickness, I'm going to guess this is around a 10 gauge. So as the metal gets thicker, it actually gets easier to weld. So, of course, this will allow me to do a butt weld across the gap, and then I'll grind it down smooth and probably a little body filler. And of course, this piece is going to flip it around the right direction. Now this piece is going to go in here. Now I'm going to do the overlap weld, and picking how I'm going to weld or what type of weld is two things. It's location of the weld. Well, I guess maybe three things. Location, the thickness of the metal, and then what do we want the final appearance to be? Because, like when I start, here, take this. Because see, when I put this piece up here, I'll go right about there. I'm going to do the same thing here that I did on this piece. And then I'll just, a little bit of grinding, but the weather stripping that goes around the door is going to hide that. So we don't have to worry about seeing that. Of course, I can do my overlap weld here, and I'm just going to do it in spots. I'm not going to weld the whole thing. But nobody will ever see this. And after I do this welding here, I'm going to take this area in between, here and where this other weld is going to be. I'm going to spray that with undercoat. And then back here, and of course this, I'll do the seam weld, and then I'll grind that down and do a little body filler, and I should be able to hide that pretty good. If I was really wanting to make it super, like if you was doing a show car, you probably wouldn't use this. You'd probably just weld the seam. But on the other hand, nobody's ever going to see this because it's going to be hid inside of the cab corner. And of course the bottom I'll plug weld to the inner rocker, and then where these holes are at, when I put these two together, they drilled the holes through the two. And that's part of what these are for. I'm going to take and trim them down, and I'm actually going to put these in here and tack weld them so that when I line up and get this all put together, I'll use this as the backer for my plug welds, which got to pay attention where the camera's pointing sometimes. But so because of these holes lining up with the holes on the other outer rocker, well, I'm going to cut this down, which right now they're both about the same size, but I'm going to cut this down, weld it on the back side. Of course, got to clean all the paint off, but I'll just put it in here so that when I get ready to fill those holes in, this will be my backer. Of course, another spot where nobody's going to see it, so it doesn't really matter. I'm going to do one on the A pillar, and then cut a little smaller piece to go back here on the rocker. And then another thing, which I got to go pick it up, I sprayed some stuff on here where you could see the rust. This stuff made by Duplicate Color. It's called Rust Fix, and it kind of helps seal and will. I have to show you when I spray this, because I said I go pick the stuff up, but it'll take this from being the brown rusty color and kind of turn it a little bit black. I don't know 100% that that's going to stop it from rusting in the future, but it will definitely slow down what we got started, because I definitely don't want to put this on and in the near future it rusts through down here. So I'm going to try and treat that, and I'm going to put, like in here where I'm not going to be near welding, I'll actually spray the rust fix like I did here, and then I'll actually probably come in here and undercoat the inside of this and to help seal her off a little better. But, and of course my welding I'm doing is with a 110 volt. It's a Lincoln MIG welder, and I'm spraying or welding, and I'm welding using an argon CO2 mix gas in the bottle. And that gas in the bottle kind of works like flux, whereas I could weld with flux core wire, but then I have the buildup of the flux in my weld. And it's a lot easier doing this kind of stuff to weld with the bottle. And I'm on not the lowest setting, but next to the lowest heat setting. And some of that's just so I don't burn through, and also so I don't warp anything, or try and minimize warping. That's why, like, probably don't have to worry about it here, but I'm gonna bloop, bloop, and work my way around in little sections, probably 1/4 to 5/16 of an inch long. And when I get back here doing this seam, it'll probably be even smaller little bursts. And it's mainly because I don't, less warping I do means the less straightening and finish work I got to do to make it look good at the end. So, but yeah, that should give you a good idea on how my welding's going to go. And yeah, and depending on, I'm going to look how many minutes I got in this video, that I'm going to try and keep my videos on Rusty between 15 and 20 minutes long. I know it's going to be a lot of different ones, but it sure makes a lot faster editing and a lot easier, uploads to the YouTube quicker. So, but I appreciate you watching. This is episode 5 of Rusty, with some welding and stuff getting going on. And I'll say, stay tuned for more, because they'll tell what else you're going to see on What's Broke Today. Thank you. Tidbit that comes in handy is on the edge of the metal and cut it. Works really good for stripping this. That I haven't, I took some off of this end, but quite a bit. And then the wind blows in here a little bit. It just